In this lesson, we are going to learn how to make a film strip. Now, a film strip is one of the first things I remember ever designing, and I remember how difficult it seemed to me, and now with my increased skills, it seems so much easier. I've made several here. Let's see what this one is. I have this one where I have filled it with this texture, and I think that one turned out pretty cool. And I have done that in with and without the paper, and I've also done it where I've ripped this edge over here. Of course, I have the rest of it black. I'd have to get my layers appropriate. There are so many things that you can do with these. You can fill them with the papers in your kit. You can add bevels. You can put textures on them, as I have done. Just so much that you can do. There is no right or wrong in the sizing for the film strip, but I'm going to show you my thought process in making mine. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to start up here from scratch. I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to put this on a fixed ratio, and you can see I have it in here from when I just made my film strip, a ratio of 6:4. The reason that I did that is because most of your photos are 4:6 is what they call them, but they're actually 6:4 in Photoshop Elements because the width is longer than the height. And I wanted my film strips to be usable easily by the most people. Does this mean you have to create in this format? No, you can make it more square if you'd like, whatever you want to do, but I wanted mine to be more of a people pleaser and able to work easily with any image. And so I just simply I'm on a 12x12 paper, and I just kind of eyed it, as I've shared with you before that I do, and I made filled about a third of my page. And I'm on black and white foreground color, and I just hit Alt, whoops, got to get on that right layer, Alt backspace, and it's going to fill it with the white. Now the reason why I'm filling this with the white is because the white area is going to be where my image goes, because that is the size of my image. Now I'm going to create another new layer, and you know, you can take off the height and the width, it doesn't matter. I'm going to hit Control backspace to fill that with black. Let's bring that to the layer below, and then I'm just going to eye this. Let's move this down kind of away from the edge, just because it's easier to play with. Now I'm going to resize the black. The black is going to be actually the layer that we're keeping, and the sides on film strips most often are pretty thin, and then there's usually quite a bit of room at the top and the bottom. Now I'm not going to be exact, I'm just kind of eyeing this, and I'm going to click OK. The reason I'm not going to be exact is because I can make that exact with the align tools in Photoshop Elements. I am going to hold down my Control key and click, whoops, I don't want a selection, click so both of the layers are the active layers, and I'm going to hit Align Vertical Centers and then Align Horizontal Centers, and now that is perfectly centered. Now I want to make a selection of the white area. I'm going to hold down my Control key, click on the thumbnail. How many times have we done that? Remember when I taught you way back when how important that would be? Make sure this black layer is your active layer and hit delete on your keyboard. And then I'm going to make this invisible or even throw it away. You really don't need it. You don't really need that white layer anymore. It was just used to cut it out. And remember, we made the white layer the 4:6 ratio so that the photo would fit in there, because this black layer obviously is a lot wider on the top and the bottom. Now we need to make those little squares that are knocked out at the top of film strips. To do this, I'm going to use the rounded rectangle tool, and depending on how big you made your element here, you're going to need to change your radius. I have my radius on 8, and then I just drew a little rectangle. However you want to draw it, you're going to want to have some straight lines on the top and the bottom, but you don't really want it to be circular. And then click Simplify. Now there's lots of ways you could go about duplicating this, but I'm going to show you how I did it for my layout and how fast it is if you really utilize the tools in Photoshop Elements and the shortcuts. I'm going to actually hit, so there's 10 of these, I'm going to hit Control J. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have 10 of them, they're all stacked up on top of each other. Now this is the fun part. I'm going to drag this one over here so it's about the same distance from this edge as that one over there is. And I'm going to hold down my Shift and my Control key. I'm going to highlight all of the shape layers, and then I'm going to hit Distribute Horizontal Centers, whammo. Just like that. All of those layers are distributed. Now if you think you might need to align, align them by the bottom edges if you didn't quite drag that one right, or just want to double check. So now we have all of our whatever you call those, knockout circles. I'm going to hold down my Shift and Control keys again and select all of these, right click and merge those layers. Now I'm just making this because I want to make it for a template. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control J because we also want to have these at the bottom. Now I know I could be using my Move tool to drag this down, but I'm actually holding down my down arrow key. The reason I'm doing this is that I won't have to later use my Align tools to realign this so it matches the top. But you could certainly do that if you wanted. So now we're going to knock out these holes. I'm going to hold down the Control key, click on the thumbnail of these top holes, make sure I'm on the right layer, the black film strip layer, and hit Delete. Then I'm going to hold down my Control key and get the selection for the ones that are on the bottom and hit Delete. And we really don't even need these two layers anymore either. I did Control V to deselect. So now you can see we have a nice film strip. I don't really need these, I could get rid of them. You could save them. I have my original ones down here. This is all up to you. Now that we have one film strip, we need to duplicate them and make a row of them. Now you could get this film strip out just as it is, but you know, Control J, and then I'm going to actually move this over, and Control J, and I'm going to move, whoops, whoa, what did I do? I'm going to move this one over, and you can see I'm getting a little bit of a problem here because I'm running off my page, so I'm going to hold Shift and Control and select them all, and whoops, keep holding down Shift and Control and resize them all down so they kind of fit on my page okay. I'm gonna go back and move this over and move this one over so they meet, so there's no gap in between, and there we go. I have my film strip layer. I still see a little bit, can't decide if I do. When I zoom out I can see a line there, but if I wanted, I could scooch that over one and scooch this over one, and then I for sure might not have that problem. There we go. Now, film strips can be really long, but to make them for a 12 by 12 page to fit, you have to consider the length of room you have going across your page. You can make these 2 together next to each other, 3 together, 4, 5, or more for variety. You can, I would suggest though, remembering the rule of thirds. If you want the people to be satisfied when they are creating on their page, you're going to want to help them with some of the design principles. So a 3 or a 5, as I did, is going to probably make their page look a little bit better than a 2 or a 4, but you can do it however you want to do it. I did take mine, as I said, and I did rip it on the edge. I found some paper here and actually used levels to make it darker, and actually put a bevel on mine. It was a really high bevel. It made this highlight on there. It doesn't hardly look like a bevel because I put it really high. There is so much you can do with these. You just need to use your imagination. I've seen people where they will make a really long one and maybe curl the edges using that AV Brothers curl. I really like the way, let's see, these turned out of mine. And the texture that I used, even though normally these are black and white, you can use your imagination and make this unique. Don't just give a regular black film strip. Make it something unique, and each film strip unique in each kit that you utilize. My internet keeps going in and out. My instant messenger keeps popping up. So, I don't know. You be imaginative and come up with your ideas for this to make yours unique. As I said, the best sellers are the best because they've come up with unique things. Remember maybe to use some brushes. How about some dodge and burn techniques on here? I'm trying to come up with some more ideas for you. You've learned a whole lot of techniques, and I can't make you artistic, as I've said before. You have to take these things I've taught you and utilize them and make these things artistic. Have fun, and I look forward to seeing what you have to do.